Let's talk to Ross Clark, who's written in The Sun today. He says, "I would never begrudge our political leaders a place to relax." Well, I'm all for that, Ross, but why should we be paying for it? Very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Hi.
Yeah, I mean, the issue here is money, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? A lot of questions being asked about exactly where is Angela Rayner's main residence, because if you believe that she does work in Westminster and is indeed the Deputy Prime Minister, and in addition to that, the Minister for Housing, Levelling Up and Communities, although I call it, she's the Minister for Housing herself, surely she must spend most of her time in the grace-and-favour apartment in London, which means that she should be paying the council tax for that.
Yes, as I understand it, the taxpayer is picking up the tab for her council tax in her Admiralty Arch home, and this is what's so obnoxious. I mean, last year, and let's be fair to Angela Rayner, this was a reform that was law that was brought in by the Conservatives to give councils the opportunity to double council tax bill for second homeowners. And you know what happened? Simultaneously, the House of Commons increased the expenses allowance for MPs to cover that extra council tax bill on their second homes.
Right.
So MPs are getting, their second homes without paying council tax at all, is being covered by the taxpayer. And anyone else who aspires to own a second home gets whacked by this council tax bill. And we're getting to a situation where our MPs are becoming, a bit like the sort of East German Communist Party. And they had a sort of special compound near Berlin where Ernst Honecker and the rest of them all had their country homes. They even had a sort of private shop to bring in Western goods for their personal use, while the rest of the country, had to make do with a cabbage once a week and a Trabant if they were lucky.
If you were lucky, shared between about 15 people, I suspect. But this is the trouble, we have a political class now who feel, it feels to me anyway, who think they're very entitled to all sorts of things. I mean, we saw it during the expenses scandal. We've seen it during the second home flipping scandal that went on with that, where people would make out that they had a second home which was their main home for a while so they could claim the mortgage relief on it. And, you get the sense, and even I mean, we've sort of taken our eye off the ball, but if you look, as I do occasionally, into the expenses of each individual MP, you still find that they're claiming for an awful lot of stuff that, quite frankly, they shouldn't be claiming for.
Yes, and it's outrageous the way that they will carry on like this. And I don't begrudge aspiration. I don't begrudge Angela Rayner wanting to have a place by the seaside, as many other people want a place by the seaside at all. But what it is whether special rules for MPs to give them a better deal from the council tax, and many are claiming rent as well on their MPs' allowances. So I mean, they've got second and third homes coming out their ear rolls, but the rest of us are the rest of the population, if they aspire to own a second home, they're treated as sort of antisocial people. Matthew Pennycook, the housing minister who answers to Angela Rayner, was the other week complaining, that first-time buyers were being frozen out by second homes and buy-to-lets and what have you. And meanwhile, MPs are going around with these sort of public subsidised property portfolios.
And they claim for all sorts. They claim for the heating in their second homes. They claim for the heating in their first homes. I mean, it's outrageous. And you mentioned in your piece what happened in Wales, where they're basically trying to price people out of even having a second home, like a holiday home, in Wales.
Yes, well, that's just even more outrageous. That makes you pleased to be an English council taxpayer. What happened in Wales is the government there, which is Labour controlled, has always been Labour controlled. It's a bit of a sort of one-party state, Wales. They passed a law giving councils the right to put a council tax premium of 3 times council tax. So actually, people could pay up to 4 times the normal council tax bill to own a second home or a holiday let. And then it turned out that Mark Drakeford, the First Minister when this law was passed, he himself owned a little holiday chalet down in Pembrokeshire, and he wasn't paying the council tax premium because, you know, his particular property had some restriction on it, occupancy restriction on it, which you know, exempted it from
Right.
this council tax premium.
Yeah, but so if you do have to pay the extra council tax premium, as you say, and you're an MP, you will probably get some kind of relief from the state taxpayer for it. And funnily enough, I've had this sent to me earlier on today by Dr. Jed about Angie's hypocrisy, because he's found a tweet from some time ago in which she says, we need to build the council houses and genuinely affordable homes that people need, not more luxury flats to sit empty so wealthy investors can get richer. Unlike the £800,000 place in Hove, obviously.
Yes, exactly. That's just says it all. I wish I'd found that quote as well. Excellent one. Very good work.
It is. Well, I mean, you know, there's always something out there. I mean, it sometimes takes a while to find it, but we've got some very clever listeners and viewers who find all this stuff for us. So, I mean, where does this all end? Because Angela Rayner's also got a bit of a habit of being a bit Teflon, isn't she? She's kind of a bit untouchable. Every time there's a scandal around her, she sort of slithers out of it on the grounds that, you know, she's a working class woman and why are you having a go at me because I'm working class? And it's not about that, is it?
She has a huge following in the Labour Party, and you know, you look at what she's up to, and she's on manoeuvres. She wants to be Keir Starmer's replacement, and nothing more indicative of that than she's trying to introduce a rule whereby the mayors of London and Greater Manchester could not simultaneously stand as MPs. And why would she want to do that?
Yeah, I know.
It's just that one certain Sadiq Khan and Andy Burnham might be leadership rivals in a future contest. And
yes, what a terrible thought.
Very, very ambitious, and I say I don't begrudge her aspiration, but you know, one rule for you and one rule for
yeah, no, listen, as I said, I don't begrudge
acceptable.
any aspiration. I just don't want to have to pay for it, because that's not really aspiration. Because if you're not doing it with your own money, then you're not really doing it, as far as I'm concerned. Ross, good to talk to you, though. Great piece. Ross Clark, columnist in The Sun, saying, if you want to own a second home, Angela, fine by him. There's a great picture of her in that canoe, this time with a paddle. And the vape, which is in her hand, she's not actually smoking it. But he says, please don't clamp down on the rest of us trying to do the same thing. And I think that's a fairly decent summary of where we are. You know, we've got a political class who think that we owe them everything. They seem to have forgotten that they work for us. They seem to have forgotten that we pay their wages, and that basically without our taxpayers' money, they wouldn't have anything. That's the problem.